Penn State, Derek Brown, defensive lineman from Auburn, Trevon Diggs, the cornerback from Alabama, Jordan Love, quarterback, Utah State, Raquan Davis, defensive line for Alabama, Terrell Lewis, edge, rusher from Alabama, Bryce Hall, the cornerback from Virginia, Jared Pinkney, tight end from Vanderbilt, Jake Fromm, I've mentioned him, and Colin Johnson, the wide receiver out of Texas, is another guys that Matt Miller has listed down as possible draft picks next year, guys, for the 2020 season and stuff like that. So those are the guys that he thinks you should have a bad season for. But like me and Aaron just discussed earlier, you probably shouldn't tank for a particular player because it doesn't always work out that way. Now here, guys, here's another college article by Kerry Miller. This is what he is listed as the 10 biggest disappointments so far this season. Now, again, guys, we're only in week 4, but this is based. This article was written a week ago on the 12th, so some of this stuff has changed. But bear with me because I do agree with it. Number 1, guys, was the Syracuse defense, and we saw a full hand last week when they played Clemson that was not something that they had. And they got beat 63-20 by Maryland, who then lost to Temple. One that hits so close to home, guys, the second one on his list is the South Florida Bulls offense. Yes, coming into this season, it was Kerwin Bell that was supposed to be this big, high explosive offense that we were supposed to have. That has not happened yet. Except this past week when we played South Carolina State. We did a little bit different. Tried some things. They changed quarterbacks and went with Jordan McLeod. And Lord willing, he had a great football game. And Blake Barnett, even though he came in the game late, had a touchdown pass. But McLeod is probably going to be your starting quarterback moving forward. If Coach Charlie Strong decides to go back to Barnett, mark my words on this podcast, he will be let go. I don't see that happening, though. I don't see Charlie Strong doing that. A.J. Dillon, the running back for Boston College, has been another guy that has been, according to him, a disappointment so far this season. He has rushed for at least 80 yards in each of Boston College's 2 wins, but he has not had the stats that he did a year ago. He has, number 4, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, lofty preseason national championship odds. They had a convincing opening over South Alabama, but they only won by 2 touchdown margins, scored 3 times. Nebraska averaged a mere 4.2 yards per play on offense against a Sun Belt defense that allowed 4.7 yards per play this past weekend against Jackson State. So that's going to be some adjusting there in Nebraska. Nebraska has had some issues since joining the Big Ten, since they moved over. And my man Tyler and my man Adam, you know that you're both big Michigan fans. The next one is about Army blowing another opportunity in September. Again, they had a chance to beat the Michigan Wolverines, and they were unable to do it. They were unable to do it, and they had a chance again to do it again, and were unable to close the door. Number 6, guys, according to him, is the Texas secondary. Tom Herman made it clear that improving the secondary was his primary concern. The Longhorns signed 3 of the top 6 safeties in this year's class, including 5-star Caden Stearns and B.J. Foster. I think 15 cornerbacks, but so far, guys, none of that combination has worked out to the T yet for them. The next one, guys, number 7, is most of the Pac-12. Now, again, there really are some bad teams, in the Pac-12, and I'm not dissing on that conference. Anyone out there listening that's a Pac-12 fan or has a team that's in the Pac-12, bear with me. I'm not trying. This is not my words. This is somebody else's. They said that Utah has an elite defense. Washington State has an equally elite offense. California already picked up one of the season. Impressive wins, and USC is better than anyone expected. Of course, they lost last week. But Oregon and Washington are the reason for that. Of course, the Ducks Arizona, Oregon State, and UCLA have combined 0-4. Chip Kelly has gone 3-11. So that's not good, guys. So the Pac-12 will have to get a little bit better moving forward. The next one I guys have, he has Miami's offensive line. I got to see that full force when I played the Florida Gators in the opening season to open the season. They played against each other. They allowed 10 sacks in that game. They have that's been the problem up front for the Hurricanes so far, is their offensive line, and when you can't protect your quarterback, that's not good. That's just not good, guys. That's not a good thing that you can't protect your quarterback. But moving forward, they're gonna have to do that. But yeah, so it'll have to come down to that moving forward. And number 9, guys, is the Tennessee Volunteers. It's never a good sign when your head coach is comparing your program to the Titanic. Of course, they 0-2 start. They lost to Georgia State and BYU. They did bounce back last week and beat Chattanooga. Now they go to the Swamp to play the Florida Gators. I think they are on. I don't know. Maybe they are at home to play the Florida Gators. Not going to be. Gary Pruitt is sitting on perhaps the country's hottest seat. Florida, Georgia, and Alabama are lurking as the 3 of the next 5 teams on Tennessee's schedule. Tennessee lost to Chattanooga this weekend. He might not make out of Sunday with a job. Of course, guys, they did beat Chattanooga. In fact, they shut him out. So he still holds on to his job for now. But again, that is going to be something moving forward that you're going to have to watch. It's interesting because here in the state of Florida, guys, the Tampa Bay Rays, I'm not going to be talking about any baseball. I'm going to go ahead and jump into that next week as the season gets ready to close itself down. But the Rays are in a playoff, trying to buy for a playoff spot. And they discussed this on the radio this morning that college football will take over before anyone watches baseball. So unless you're not a college football fan, I say I have to agree with that. College football will trump over any, baseball, especially the playoff baseball and stuff like that, moving forward. But what I'm saying is, we have to, I would have to say I agree with what's going on and stuff like that. But that's a definite thing moving forward this weekend is that I will watch college football over baseball. My Red Sox are not going to make the postseason. So, but the Yankees are going to make the postseason, guys, out of the division, and possibly the Rays will make it out of this division as well. In the AL East, we'll have to wait and see. But guys, is there anything else? I mean, Tyler jumped on and was talking to me about the Wisconsin game coming up. Is there anybody else out there that wants to talk about the NFL or college football or anything like that? Hop on real quick, guys. I mean, you can hop on TalkShoe. You can hop on Facebook Live. I'm here on both. I'm going to go ahead and move forward. Like I said, I'm going to try to get to 9:30 because I'm going to talk to my man John Blaine in the final half hour about WWE's Clash of Champions. You can see, guys, with this cold, I'm not even thinking properly this evening. But again, I didn't want to miss the show, guys. I love you guys. I love everyone that comes on here. I know that not everyone out there watches this. They watch it tomorrow, or hell, they watch it in the future. I appreciate everyone that's come on here and come on and watched me. Whether you do it on TalkShoe, you do it here on Facebook Live, or you download the show later on. I'm hoping that going to Tampa Talk in a couple weeks, I'll have 2 shows per week. But again, like I said, that show will primarily just be about the state of Florida. It will not be anything nationwide or anything like that. Guys, the President's Cup is coming up now. For the people out there that don't know the game of golf, the Ryder Cup happens every 2 years, and the Ryder Cup is between the United States and all of Europe. So all of Europe, all the players from Europe can play against each other. The Ryder Cup was a disappointment for Team USA last year. And it used to be vice versa. The President's Cup used to be in the even years. The Ryder Cup was in the odd years. Why did it change, you ask? When 9/11 hit, they changed the years and went to the President's Cup, went to the odd, and the Ryder Cup went to the even years. So now you have but what's coming up is the President's Cup. The President's Cup is Team USA versus the rest of the world that is not Europe. So Europe does not get to play in the President's Cup. This is strictly just the United States and the rest of the world outside of Europe. So that's everywhere else on the continent everywhere else on the planet except for that. As you can see, two guys to my left, you don't see the microphone. I am still trying to work out the kinks with that. I think I'm going to need if anybody out there has a dual audio jack that I can use, because my USBs are not working. I cannot get the USB thing to work. So I need a dual audio jack so I can put my speakers and that into that to make it work. Because it will not work. I've tried everything I can to do it. But anyway, guys, let me go ahead and get to the President's Cup real quick. Tiger is is team captain. He was named captain. Well, he did he did something that kind of surprised a lot of us, and this was written by Matt Bonesteel of the Early Lead. And again, this was written, guys, about 6 days ago. He has decided to name himself as a player. So he's the captain. He's named himself as a player. Now, again, this again, guys, is the rest of the world. Apparently, he's recovered from minor knee surgery that he underwent in August. Woods went on to write about how he hoped to play well in his upcoming tournament in Japan. The rest, let's see here, phrasing, golf blog, memory Masters. Of course, he won the Masters earlier this year, he won the Masters. World-class players who aren't yet on the team, like Ricky Fowler, Tony Finau, Phil Mickelson, Patrick Reed, Gary Woodland, and Jordan Spieth are not even on the team yet. The fall events will also allow me to get extended looks at two young rookies, and Matthew Wolff and Colin Moraka, who both played well after turning pro late this season, while Woods apparently has decided that he himself would be the best fit. His other three choices will be tough indeed. Again, guys, you have Spieth, Mickelson, Reed, Woodland, Finau, and Ricky Fowler are the ones that he could choose to be on Team USA's team for the President's Cup. Again, guys, like I said, the President's Cup is everyone outside of Europe against Team USA. So what that acquittals to is Tiger has decided that he named himself a captain's pick. Guys, I have the NFL game on, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are currently up 14-0. And there's Gunter Mitchell. He's the quarterback now that Nick Foles is out. And they're up 14-0 over Tennessee in the first quarter. So in case you guys aren't getting a chance to watch the game, the Jaguars are up 14-0. But Tiger picked himself. So that leaves three captains' picks for him to have to decide between all those guys I listed down moving forward. That's going to be tough to see who he picks moving forward. Like I said, guys, if you see me wiping my nose and I'm taking drinks, again, guys, if you're just joining my show, I have a cold or allergies. I'm all stuffed up, and I'm trying to get through the show here, guys, the best I can. I didn't want to miss the show because, again, I love you guys, so I didn't want to miss the show. So I'm trying not to I got snot all over my nose and stuff, guys. I'm trying to hang tight here and get through the show. I had some topics I wanted to talk about. In case you guys are just joining me as well, starting a new podcast in 11 days called Tampa Talk. The logo is on my Facebook page. If you're a Facebook friend of mine, hop over there and take a look at it. If that will strictly, guys, be about Tampa Bay and Florida in general. I will, again, not be talking about the Michigans or the Patriots or the Red Sox or the Wisconsin Badgers or the New York Yankees. This will strictly be just a Tampa Bay-based podcast. A lot about the Lightning and the Rays and the Bucks and the Bulls, who are all local. I'll talk about the Gators and the Knowles and the Hurricanes, the Knights,